Hello Stratters, welcome back! I'm Binkabi. Time for a deck check, this time in Pauper. So, I went to a Grand Prix Stockholm and played the sealed event, the main event. Did decent. I ran into the worst string of luck I've ever had. I did, since I like statistics and stuff, I counted on it and I mulliganed over 90% of my games. And that includes side events. Yeah, that's fantastic. And with that kind of luck, you're not gonna win, no matter how good you are and how good your deck is. But anyway, I picked up Thermo Alchemists in my deck, and I found them to be extremely good. And I thought, well, it's a common, and this seems like a pretty good card to have. So the obvious home for me was in a blue-red deck that can just filter through, and whenever you can make your ponders also deal 2 damage, that's just insane. So I wanted to build this deck and see how it performed, and we actually had a local tournament with 22 Pauper players. I know that's pretty good. And I built a blue-white Flyers deck, and a friend of mine wanted to borrow a deck, so I threw together the first version of this deck, and he actually went 5-0 and won everything. And the only bad thing he could say about the deck that I built was that the sideboard wasn't sleeved. So, I mean, you don't get better feedback than that. So I fine-tuned the list a bit. It did contain the Pyrohounds, I believe they're called, the 4-drop, but I found them to be pretty slow and unsatisfying. So the deck is trimmed since then. So the cool thing is that this deck can play the aggro game, the mid-range game, the control game, and the combo game, depending on the draw and depending on the situation. So the creature base is pretty straightforward. It's 4 Delvers because we do run a fair bit of spells. I think it's 27? 12? Yeah, 27 spells. So almost half our deck is spells, so we will flip. Then we have Elusive Spellfist from one of the Tarkir blocks. I actually don't recall which one. And Thermo Alchemist at 2. They both do basically the same thing. This one needs you to commit before attacking, so you need to do something in your main phase. This one you can do it whenever you want, and it will always be ready to block. I mean, stuff like narcolepsy, and it just doesn't work at all. So that's what's make this good, and it's always ready to block, which is not unrealistic to assume that it can do. I mean, if they have a 2/2 elf, for example, this one deals just as much damage as the Spellfaced while still blocking, which is pretty good. I would prefer Thermo Alchemists over Spellfaces if I had to choose. And 3 Wee Dragonauts, they are still fantastic, and you might wonder why Dragonauts over something like Kiln Fiend, which is just this but cheaper and better. The key word here is evasion. I don't have any way of pushing through a Kiln Fiend besides like just plain old removal. No unblockable, nothing at all. So I think Wee Dragonauts is a lot better, even though it costs 1 more. For spells, we have Gitaxian Probes, which are free. They're also pretty good because you know if you can play around stuff and when it's safe to go for a bigger turn. And Manamorphose, both of these are free virtually, which makes them extremely lethal. If you have like 2 of these, and just playing 2 of these is 4 damage without even committing a single mana. That's insane. For filtering, we do have 4 Preordains and 4 Ponders. It's just the most efficient and the best spells that you can possibly find. I did run Deep Analysis in the first version, but they usually just clogged up the hand. They were pretty good to win a longer game, so this deck suffers. The control game this deck has suffers with this version, but that's just how it is. I think this is better. They don't get you extra cards, but they really do, because either you're looking for specific spells and you can find them, or you have like a Flame Jab and just want lands, and then it's pretty good too. For removal and burn, we do have 4 bolts because they're still the best. 3 firebolt, that's they're worse than lightning bolt. They could be chain lightning, but I kind of like the flashback. Just to be able to reuse your stuff. I mean, if you're completely empty but you have like 1 spell fist left, it's so good to have a firebolt in the graveyard because you get through for 2 more damage. You can kill something or just put them into lethal range. I like that. It could be chain lightning. It could be like stagger shock. It could be basically whatever, but I think they're pretty good. 3 silent departure, basically the same concept as firebolt, but these handles big threats. I'm thinking your Gurmag Angler, for example. Silent departure just wrecks that. And that's also the time where you can go like Delver, Guy, and then they play their Angler, you bounce it, and like Ponder or something. They replay it, and you can soon after that silent departure it again, so that's pretty good. And a Flame Jab. I had one Una's Grace, one Flame Jab, and I think Una's Grace is too slow. So once again, the control game this has suffered a lot. But it could still do that. It could drop Thermo Alchemist, Spellfist, and don't attack and just kill everything and be more controlling. But Flame Jab is insane. This is the flood insurance you're looking for, because when you have like 3 creatures in play, nothing in hand but like 2 lands, and you draw this, it's like drawing 3 spells at least. That's insane. And it pings them and triggers your stuff. I think it's good. And then I'm running 18 lands. I started off at 24, went down to 22, and added 2 more preordains. Then I went down to 20, and then I went down to 18 and added all the Manamorphoses actually. So you could suffer from landlight hands, but at the same time, the reason you will lose with this deck is because you drew your 6th land, or 5th land even. I mean, we do have some insurance there, but I'd say you win a lot more games from 2 mana than you do from 5 mana. So that's basically the deck. I like it a lot, and I think it's a really strong contender to be like the top deck in Modern. I think it could get there. For sideboard, I mean, I just threw something together, so I had something to play with. It's basically your generic stuff here. I got 1 Apostle's Blessing, just because a 1-off is really strong. It just costs 1 mana, it untaps, it protects you from a Doomblade or Terminate or what have you, or a Lightning Bolt. And it could also get you through, which is like, you could get your Weed Dragonaut through like 5 White Spirit tokens or whatever and win the game. So it's a miser 1-off. Some counter magic, 2 pairs, just when you're trying to play the tempo game, you drop something, they try to kill it, you pierce it, you get some extra value, that sort of thing. Excuse me. 2 counter spells for the bigger things, like if you're up against Tron or something, could be good. I'm much more inclined to bring these in on the play than on the draw. 3 Electricity because the card is busted in Pauper. It kills tokens, it kills Boggles, it kills Delvers, it kills goblins, elves, I mean, you name it, it kills everything. It's a fantastic card. And I mean, Boggles, we don't have anything to kill them with, so we need them. We need them badly. 2 Molten Rains for the slower grinder decks, you know, Dimir Aqueducts, stupid Peregrine Drake decks, that sort of thing. Really good there. 3 Pyroblast because blue is still very good, and Pyroblasting like Peregrine Drake or a buyback Capsize or whatever could be strong. And I really like Gutshots, so 2 Gutshots, now 1 disappeared. But yeah, Gutshots is good. So there you have the deck. I hope you will enjoy the matches, and yeah, I'll bring you more as soon as I can. So let's jump over to the first match.
Thank you for watching. please like and subscribe. It really helps us out. You can find us on Twitter at MagicGathStrat, Facebook /MagicGatheringStrat, or on the web, magicgatheringstrat.com. There you can find articles and free prize-supported leagues. This is all brought to you by our Patreons and cardhoarder.com. If you enjoyed this content, please consider supporting us at patreon.com/magicgatheringstrat.